Here we go, folks. Yeah, this is the part that I love because it's the pregame show. I just need to go over to the studio and see if it needs to be. Oh, we are live. Yeah, it says end stream, which means we are actually live. Yes. And I got the notification. Folks, we are live. And I'm looking at the comments. How's everybody doing? MJ here. It's interesting. There's a gentleman here. This is like, it's 11:30 at night. He's out here with a hose. He's taking care of the park. He was picking up trash and doing all kinds of stuff. Here, let me show you. This is pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, you see what he's doing? He's like watering the trees, man. That's cool. That's my bike down there. Sorry, I got my bike seat in the way. Yeah, that's cool. And there's some folks over there having a good time. One thing I don't like, the Pocket 3 did a update. It's cool. There's a new zoom mode, right? Where it zooms in on the sensor and not just on the video, so the resolution's a lot better. The problem is you can't change it on the fly. So in order to use it, I would have to stop the live stream and then zoom in. So hopefully, oh gosh, what's going on? Hopefully an upcoming, firmware update might fix that. We'll see. Anyway, I've been goofing around. Tonight I have my, let me see, my little NUX. Oh, this is funny because I don't know if you can see this. I'm running manual because with the automatic settings it was too dark, but this is my NUX little amplifier. They call this the Mighty Air, and what I did was I put some, you see this, I put some strap buttons on from a guitar that I had, right? And this is a locking strap from Planet Waves Diodario. Really amazing. This comes off, and so I got like strap buttons on this. A lot of amps do this, so I can just carry this thing around with me. And there's a little transmitter. It's a wireless rig, and it just works really great. So I got one of my guitars out here. I have 10 guitars, and I have the black Harley Benton V. That guitar is probably one of the greatest values ever. The electronics need work. If you're gonna use it in the studio or on stage, you really need to, hang on, this is top messages. Hold on. Did somebody send me messages and I don't see them? I hate this. This is top messages. 3. Okay. I want all messages. All messages. Thank you. Why does this do this? But anyway, the electronics need work because the controls aren't so like fine. It's hard to turn it down and get a clean sound. But so if you have a little bit, and you don't need to do like CTS pots or something from Gibson or Epiphone. You just go to the electronics store and just get like a 250 or a 500K pot, whatever you want, stick it in there. But for hey Matthew, fist bump, man, I can always count on you, man. I could go away for years and come back, and you're always there, man. I appreciate it. How's your family doing? How's everything? You guys probably remember I met Matthew and his family over the summer at my sister's house in North Carolina. They were traveling through. That was so cool. I really appreciate that. But yeah, this guitar is, I tried using it in the studio. It's a little too noisy, but I have used it on some gigs, and I like it because it's like, this is like $150 guitar, and it's like the coolest looking flying V shape, it's just crazy. And it's got like, on the end, it's kind of got like lightning bolts. I suppose I could show it, but I'm too lazy. I haven't even introduced you guys formally to my Red Special. Now, I haven't been on much at all, but let me tell you something. It's not because I've been lazy. I'm super busy. I financed in April a concert. I haven't been on so long. I financed a concert out of my pocket. I got like 10 bands and, stage, sound company, the whole thing, right? And I'm doing another one. I doubled actually more than doubled my budget. So I'm on the hook for some money, but I don't care. And I got 6 bands that are going to do 8 hours of music excellent, ready for summer. Man, I'm so ready for summer, but it hasn't been that hot. And when I can tell it's hot is when the fans in the foyer, I installed some exhaust fans in the foyer of my house, and I hooked it up to a temperature sensor, the whole thing, and did automation. So when the fans come on, then I know it's hot, and they've only come on like 3 times. But I got 8 hours of music going on, and it's in the industrial park right over here. It's in a beer company. They're selling like craft beer. It's amazing, and the show is going to be so cool, and we're having a blast. I've ordered 80 chairs and 10 tables and some tents and stuff, and so it's going to be epic. But I'm probably going to lose everything. And I like to spend my discretionary money on guitars and stuff. And we're going to go to Japan at the end of next month. So probably like 2 weeks after I'm done with this concert, I'm going to be in Japan. And I was planning on taking some of my discretionary money and buying a guitar. There's a really super rare guitar there, but you know what? I can do that anytime. I don't care. I'm trying to have some fun. The thing of it is too, is I'm trying to bring live music to this area by having some bands and trying to, like I was walking around. This is hilarious. I was walking around with flyers, introducing people to my show. Had 4 languages in my flyer. Because the cool thing is, we got people from the UK and Germany and Canada and you name it, but they all speak English, right? And then we got some Taiwanese bands, some really interesting original bands. We have a student band too that's really great. And we have a Philippine band. It's a well-known band, really super, super hot band. And we got an Indonesian band, and they do death metal. Now, I don't really get death metal, but these guys are excellent players. But Indonesian bands are so rare here, and I went around to the Indonesian places and I talked to the boss. Fortunately, everybody speaks Chinese, so I talked to the boss lady at both places in Chinese and said, hey, look, I've been looking for an Indonesian band, and I found one, and I've arranged this special concert, and this Indonesian band they're on the show, and they're looking at my flyer. And I was like, can you tell your customers, because, nobody can go see an Indonesian band. And if you've ever traveled overseas, right, you know what I'm talking about. If you want to see a show and you're in a country that's English isn't their predominant language, you might want to see a show in English. It might be kind of a special thing for you to find that. So I've been doing that, and I've been recording, and I haven't introduced you guys to the Red Special, but let me tell you, I am I got it in November. It came in November. I am absolutely fully used to that fat giant neck, and boy, it's almost like I can't play anything else now. And I know that's what Brian May said. He said he'd been playing that guitar so long you can't play anything else, and now I understand it really like fills your whole hand up it's just like a baseball bat. But man, the sounds. And I've been working on my pedal board. I haven't put any of this online. I mean, a little bit on Facebook, just I don't know why, but I'm almost ashamed to say that. But yeah, I haven't really been sharing a whole lot with you guys on my channel. I kind of think the Real Taiwan project for now is dead, is what I think. Never really got the traction, and it's just, that's on me. I didn't deliver, but that's okay. I got so many other things going on, and I have been urged by people that I respect and know, and that have known that I have been working on these records for so long, and they're asking me, how come you haven't released and all this stuff? And finally, so I'm like, okay, so now I'm back to recording, and I'm going to do a release. I also have the Jacked at 70 YouTube channel, and I haven't released anything. I think it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I know it's an excuse. I've been so busy, but man, I have not lost any weight. I really got to hit it. If I'm gonna hit 70, hey, there's a mosquito in my pocket 3. Will you get off of there? What's going on? If I'm gonna lose this weight and get jacked by 70. This is the 5th month, man. I got to get hot on that, so I got a lot of motivation. My car died, and I borrowed a friend of mine's car, and it's really old and kind of not in good condition, and he hasn't driven it for a while. Has some health issues, right? And he said, oh, the girl's been driving it, just ladies that we know. And so I went to get the car to borrow it, and I think one of the struts is broken. And then Friday I was with my family, picked up Phoenix after school, and the air conditioner compressor quit, and his brakes quit. So I'm gonna put his car in the shop over here and fix it. But we bought a new car, and we bought a car that's not available in the US, but boy, it should be. It's part of the blanket under Volkswagen, and it's a car that's made in the Czech Republic called Skoda. And let me tell you guys, it is the best like feature per dollar value car I've ever seen in my life. It's called the Kodiaq with a Q at the end. It's a 4x4 SUV. Auto parking, all kinds of crazy stuff I never even because I have a 2013 Caddy, right? I was gonna get another Caddy, and the new Caddy's updated, and I drove it and it's really nice, but I drove the Skoda, I was like, whoa, because it's VW, they've integrated all this stuff. It has a Porsche engine. The interior is from Audi, and the stuff it does, like all the lane assist and adaptive speed controls, but the thing is, right, is if you're on the highway, okay, everybody's got this. You're on the highway, you press, you turn on the cruise control. It looks at the distance, to the car in front of you. And with the Skoda, you can set that distance too. Of course, it does automatic emergency braking, throws on the hazard lights, and prepares everybody with the, pre-tensioning and everything in case there's a crash. But if you're driving around on a city street and you're just going 40 kilometers an hour, 50 kilometers an hour in city streets here, and you turn on the cruise control, that knows you're not on the highway. So it goes into traffic jam mode. And what it starts doing is it subtly will steer the car according to the lanes to help you. You keep your hands on the wheel, but you say, okay, it's doing its thing. It handles all the braking. It'll come to a stop properly behind a car in traffic, so you're not, but it comes up behind the car at a proper interval, for a stop, like at a stoplight, turns the engine off and waits. You tap the gas, the engine goes on, it takes over. It has auto hold. If you don't want the engine to go off, it will just park. Basically, an auto hold is always on. This 4-wheel drive system is always on. And what, of course, the systems are doing today is they're utilizing the ABS sensors system. And so, in the old days, remember, you'd take, Dad's Buick out for the weekend, and you'd get off-road or something, you pull over the side of the road, and one tire's on the pavement and the rear, and the other was on the grass, and it spins, and you're not going anywhere because the tire that spins, it gets all the power. Of course, what they're doing nowadays is any wheels that spin, the ABS system and the braking system will apply brakes and lock that, so then it starts putting the power to the other side. And this car is 4-wheel drive. This Skoda Kodiaq is 4-wheel drive, and this system is active all the time, this traction system. I took it on a test drive, and it was a rainy day. There were wet leaves and stuff on the road. And the thing has paddle shifters and a 2.0 liter, very powerful engine, 7-speed gearbox, DSG, it's like a sports car. And I went up this windy mountain road, and I floored it. I want to see what happened. And I used the paddle shifters. I downshifted to a high RPM, and I gunned it. Not a single bit of wheel spin. Not a single bark from the tires. Nothing. Not a squeal. Coming downhill, I told my wife, I said, this thing is like a mountain goat. It's like, wow. Because I always thought the Caddy was like that. The Caddy is a very capable vehicle, in my opinion, and it's a passenger car on a truck frame, you know. But the Caddy has 7 seats. Now I started to worry about that with the Kodiak, but the Kodiak has 2 seats in the rear on the third row. It's like, you gotta be kidding! I thought of everything. When that most people have that third row down. It's flat, and you open up the rear passenger compartment. I mean, the hatchback, and you're like, hello, hello, hello. There's so much stinking room in there. You can put a surfboard in there. It looks like. And so, but the thing is you grab these straps and you pull it up, and there's 2 jump seats in the back. Now, I sat in the back just to see if I could. I could. It's not that comfortable, but still, it's good enough. Like, if you're out with another couple and they want to put their kids back there, or if you're, I mean, I'm pretty big. I'm 191. I'm like 6'3", and I'm way too heavy. So I'm not representative of the typical people that we have here in Taiwan, and even in, okay, I'm just going to say, I'm bigger than most of our friends. That's all I'm going to say. So if we have some friends come over and I mean, my daughter can sit in the back. It's no problem. So I'm really, really psyched about this car. And if you're in the States or some other country that doesn't have Skoda, S-K-O-D-A, look up the Kodiak. It's, K-O-D-I-A instead of a K. It's Q, right? And you will be astonished at just everything they thought of. Just crazy stuff. And the lighting, it's adaptive lighting. It turns, when you turn the wheel. I've always wanted that. The haptic feedback on the steering wheel and stuff. It's just crazy. So there's been that thing too. Getting a new car has been, it's been a little bit of a thrash to try to figure out what we want. I'm going to do something I haven't done for a while. While I stream it, I'm always facing this way. I'm going to go around this way. Let's do this. You guys get a chance to see how fat I am, but I don't care. Truth is truth. There we go. Now I'm facing the other way. And we got let me just see what this looks like. I can turn this on. Okay. Yeah, cool. That looks fine. Now I'm facing the other people. There's no danger here. It's not like I'm worried about somebody sneaking up on me. That's only happened once before when I was over at a temple. It's kind of a creepy temple. Sometimes these temples have creepy people hanging around, but anyway, so I have been really busy. I just haven't been live streaming. And, I don't know. The world is such a different place. After the worldwide disease outbreak, I don't want to use trigger words, that happened, and the recovery process after that, and the whole political climate has just, I mean, I was on, you guys know this, I was on Reddit, RPAN, before it went out. It's no secret to me why RPAN went under, because it was a bunch of woke feminist moderators that killed it. But it just went, just goes to show, like, I think how out of touch and out of step I am. I mean, next year I'm going to be 70. That's like old fart territory, like really bad. I was joking with the guy the other day. I should form a band called the PHARTS, the Farts. Can't join my band if you're under 50. But it's like, and Matthew and Dave and Kenrod and Rob and Coco and many of you who have like supported me, and there's so many. I'm sorry, I'm not naming everybody, and I don't mean to leave anybody out, but so many of you that were like huge supporters of mine from the very beginning. I know you guys used to tell me, never stop scoping, never stop, live streaming. And I would just basically just tell people my opinion and my viewpoints on things, but I'm just not even sure how relevant any of that is anymore. It's just gone so crazy and woke. I mean, I'm watching videos and I stop myself and go, why the heck am I watching this? Why are we having these discussions? I saw another one today, panel of people, and there's one woman in the far end, and they said, can you define a woman? This is, Piers Morgan, okay? Can you define a woman? And she's like, I'm not going to get into it with you because I know you're trying to do this and trying to do that. He goes, look, I just asked you. And so she said, well, a woman is somebody who's been frightened by or afraid of a man at least once in her life. A man said, so a man has been frightened by another man as a woman. Okay. Guys, I feel like I've lost my mind. I just feel like I'm going to drink my rum. I got nothing to say. There's nothing I can add to that conversation. It's just, I have no value add to that conversation. What's a woman? An adult human female. Cancel. My YouTube channel is getting canceled. You watch. You'll get a notification, okay? And you'll wake up tomorrow and you say, oh, I got a notification. Oh yeah, MJ's live stream, and just go to my channel. And it'll be deleted because I said a woman is an adult human female. You watch. Yeah. What's good has become bad, what's bad has become good. And it's just like we used to have a lot of great times and doing stuff and go around and interviewing people. And this is Taiwan, and it's different. And Taiwan is so different in that we don't have these debates and the stupid stuff that other people have, and you can be whatever you want. I mean, you can literally be I don't want to name any types, but all types, and nobody cares. They just care. Are you cool? Are you a cool person? Are you cool to be around? Are you a troublemaker? Just like, do you want to have some fun? You want to go do something? That's cool. So that's all they care about, right? And guys like Johnny Somali don't come here and make trouble. It's just, we're very fortunate at not being on that kind of radar, right? But part of the reason that I haven't been live streaming is just because I think I'm not relevant anymore. And I'm not, like boo-hoo and, oh, please tell me I am relevant. I'm just telling you, I don't think I am, and I don't really care. I know I can still play, and I know I can still sing, and I know I still got a lot of gas left, and I am concentrating on the other channel, and we're way behind with Map Freaks, by the way. Rob has been tied up, I've been tied up, but in the meantime, we've made some interesting discoveries, and I will tell you a little background about one thing. Rob and I have discussed this. We might actually change our focus to this new project. But everybody remembers Tony, right? Tony Lin. John Ho came to Taiwan in 2016, and he interviewed Tony Lin and I. It was about how I got started with my business here and how Tony helped me. And that was actually a really great interview with John Ho. It's on this channel if you want to go back and look. It's quite, you'll be scrolling for a while to find it. But Tony is such an amazing resource, and his dad, right, grew up in Hsinchu in this area. Tony has told me of two different instances where his father found, or actually witnessed dogfights between Allied and Japanese aircraft. I was like, wow, so fascinating to listen to this, right? And Tony was talking about the Hakka, which is the local ethnicity that came from China and now is prominent in Taiwan in this area, and between like the Ming loyalists and just all kinds of stuff, And anyway, so I have all these bunkers around here. You guys heard me talk about these bunkers, and I even did a live stream from one of the bunkers. I asked Tony, I said, why all these bunkers around here, man? What are they protecting? And matter of factly, and like just like kind of a, oh, don't you know? There was a military radio installation over there, and they put the bunkers all around it to protect the approach to the radio installation. And I told this to Rob, and we're like, what? We've been pulling our hair out trying to find out why these things are there. And we don't even know if these bunkers are Japanese or if they're early KMT. Because, the era, they overlap, and the construction techniques are, they're using indigenous materials. It's like, you build a bunker, you just build a bunker. And it's not, there's not like a lot of character to it. We can say, oh, this has some architecture. It's just a concrete structure, right? So you could say, well, it could be Japanese. Well, it could be, KMT. We don't know. So I said, Tony, can you show us where it is? He said, yeah. And he met Rob and I, and we followed him up. And it's now, that site has a modern telecommunications tower, but we've been looking at previous versions of Google Maps. But the really interesting thing is, several years ago, there was another tower there that wasn't self-supporting. The tower that's there now is self-supporting, okay? It just, it gets wider at the base, and it doesn't need guy wires. But the previous towers needed guy wires. And guide towers need anchors, and the anchors have to be at equidistant spaces, okay? Around a 360-degree circle, they have to be, the three of them have to be equidistant, right? And they can't be, they have to be accurate within 1 degree or so, because the tower might actually fall under stress. I have a story about that for another time. So in the middle of this T field is an anchor, and we walked out to it, and to our surprise, next to it, about 2.5 meters away, is a really primitive, old-fashioned looking concrete guy anchor. And it has, sticking out of this concrete block that's very rough, it looks like they just nailed some boards together and dumped concrete in it, and they shoved a big steel rod in it. What they did was they took the steel rod and they bent it into a hook, or into a loop, and then they welded it. But the thing is, without machine tools, like without a machine shop, we could do that in a die. When you try to bend a piece of metal on itself, it's never going to stay together. It's always going to be apart a little bit, right? You know what I'm saying? You'll take a piece of metal and you'll bend it on itself, and unless you can go like this past it, or you can put pressure on it in a die, it's always going to be spaced a little bit. Well, that's how this anchor is, and they filled that with a bead, with welding. And so now this weldment is sticking there out of this thing. We're like, obviously that is contemporaneous with all of the bunkers. So now I went back to Google Earth, and I think, well, based on a supposition, I think I know where the original tower was. And I've done the math and the geometry to figure out where the other anchors are. One of them would be hopelessly lost in the bush, but the other anchor, if it exists, well, there has to be 2 other anchors. Whether they've been destroyed is another story. But they did exist at one time, obviously. But I think I have a pretty good idea where to look. So we're going to be looking for that too. That would be fun exploring, and I'm looking forward to that too. And I did do a drone exploration of that, which means it's a foregone conclusion. I've been having fun with this Pocket 3 since I got it, but it's a foregone conclusion that I'm going to have to go back to using Prism, at least for some shows with you guys live streaming, where I can play these videos. But I flew all the way around that tower and down in the fields next to it. It's all tea. It's low altitude tea. There's a lot of output there. There's a lot of tea trees. I get a lot of tea leaves out of there. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So I get my new car on Tuesday. I'm going to be driving it a lot, so I'm going to take a trip out to that area, and I'm going to walk through there and try to locate that other anchor. And then we can start to build the story, because if the other anchor is there, let me rephrase that. If I can find where the other anchor was or is, depending if it still exists, that means for an absolute fact, I can have an accurate GPS location of that place. And we can go back and calculate where that original tower was. And that might give us some indication of what it was for. Because back in those days, there was no, digital. It was all like CW, Morse code. Some single sideband was starting to emerge, but yeah. The thing that's frustrating for Rob and I is that we don't know any way to date the concrete. Who knows? Might be able to send a chunk to a lab, but I don't know what it would tell us. Now, you guys know that I'm a recording guy, and I've had a Zoom H2N for a long time. And I was down in Kaohsiung a couple of weeks ago, and I was invited to do a show, and we were blasting, right? And I used my H2N. Oops, my phone just tipped over, I don't care. H2N, and the H2N was overwhelmed with the volume of the band. I put it like on a little tripod in front of the stage. And so my solution is this. Zoom has come out with the H2 Essential. What's amazing about this device, I'll turn it on so you can see the display. What's amazing about this device is that there are no input controls. There's no limiter on it, there's no compression on it, and you see that right now there's waveforms that are being displayed, and the waveforms are white because it's not being recorded. Now, if you look at the top of this device, let me just go over here. Look at the top. Come on, hang on a second. Look at the top of this device. That shows that you can select front or rear microphones. You can select mono if it is actually a mono signal, and you have the option of 90 degree or 120 degree width on this thing. Now, the reason that there are no controls is because this device records in 32-bit float. 32-bit float is very strange when compared to other recording resolution formats. Oh, by the way, you'll see a little blinking blue thing. There's a Bluetooth module. Now, I don't know why they did this. They didn't put Bluetooth inside the thing. They put a socket for a Bluetooth module, which I got. If you take the module out, there's a rubber plug that goes in, and otherwise, usually the thing is fairly, water resistant, but with the cap out and the Bluetooth module in, it doesn't really, it's not quite as robust. But I just leave it in all the time, because what it does is you can't really do a whole lot with it, but with the app you can turn it on and off, which is really handy, because it could be over there and you don't want to run over and turn it off. And it does have a 2-second pre-record, which is cool, because if you're sitting there and the band starts, guys, oh gosh, and you press, record, because it records 2 seconds ahead, you can still capture the whole thing. So I'm going to turn it off. But that's a really, really beautiful unit with a nice display, right? And this thing was not very expensive. I highly recommend it. I used it in the field the other day to record some wildlife and stuff. And the 32-bit float is amazing. It means the resolution of the file is so high that if, for example, you were to bring it into software, like a DAW, digital audio workstation, like even Audacity or something cheap. I like to use Reaper because it's the best DAW in the world. But the point is if you drag it into your software and it's distorted because the level is so high, you just turn it down within that application. And you'll find that the recording is still pristine. The reverse is true because it's 32-bit and the dynamic range of 32-bit is astronomical. If you are in the field somewhere and the sound that you're trying to record is so low, if you're hearing like somebody whispering, you can raise it up astronomically and recover that sound. That's why there's no level controls, there's no volume controls, there's no limiter, there's no compression on this thing. Because the range of it is just like, you know, from here to the James Webb. It's astonishing. I'm too old, man. I wish I had this stuff when I was in my 30s. I would just be, I'd be doing such epic stuff, but now I'm just I'm just a member of the band called The Farts, the PHARTS. Yeah, but hey, I got one. You should get one too. And if you look at the description of most of my videos, I am a Thomann affiliate. And Thomann, of course, serves most of Europe. I'm not sure if they actually ship to the US, but supposedly there's a way to, I gotta figure this out. I just haven't done it. There's too much to do. Thomann and Sweetwater have like some kind of arrangement. So if somebody's in the US, it's supposed to send them to Sweetwater, but I don't think that happens. But anyway, so yeah, you can buy it from my affiliate links and I might get, 50 cents, but it doesn't cost you anything. It just helps it's just, grist for the grill. No, that's grist for the mill. When I say grill, because I've got grilling on my mind, man. I think about grilling all the time. But yeah, so yeah, family's great. Thank you. Of course, you met Phoenix. She's just growing like a weed. She's way taller than mommy, and she just is fearless, Matthew, when it comes to like, okay, the show that I told you I did it in April, and I had 10 Filipino bands, and we had space in the middle. And I asked my daughter, I said, "Do you want to play, at the show?" And she's like, "Okay." Like, take it or leave it, right? You know how kids are. And so she wanted to play recorder and just, do this. She's doing these incredible Japanese songs from movies and from anime that I never even heard of. I don't know where she hears this stuff, probably from school, right? So she's playing by ear. She taught herself this stuff. She studied it. She can sight read music, and she's got the ear-hand coordination now, just like when you play guitar, right? You don't have to really think about the notes. I don't think about the notes. I look at the intervals. So I'm like, "Okay, Punkin, are you ready you want to play next?" She goes, "Okay, I'll put you on next." And I take her over to Mr. Zheng, who's the sound engineer. Because I'd asked him earlier, "Can you do YouTube backing tracks?" He said, "Sure, no problem." So I told Phoenix, I said, "Just tell Mr. Zheng what you want." And she uttered 3 syllables in Chinese. And I'm like, wow. And he knew it. He said, "Okay, Hal." And then she went up on stage. And if I show you a picture of her, actually, if you go to my Facebook, I have a page, Phoenix Media Forge. That's, it's my studio. You guys know this. Phoenix Media Forge. I finally made a Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, Phoenix Media Forge Studio. And it's got the winged phoenix and the smoke and the stuff, and it says PMF with the front and back letters. You can figure it out. Phoenix Media Forge Studio, and I have pictures in the gallery, and you see Phoenix, and she's got she's blowing this complicated series of, I mean, that was like, we used to say in the old days, that's a hard show to blow, talking about some of these players are playing flute and playing trumpet and just like, you know, and just all this incredible stuff. Hey, Dave, fist bump. Dave, you should be asleep, man. It's late there. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And so if you look at this video, or excuse me, these photos, some did take videos, but some of the photos of Phoenix, she's just looking off to the side, like she just has this, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I've never known anybody who's a more natural performer than my daughter, because she has zero fear of anything. It is just crazy. All right, look, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do this again. Now, I haven't done this before. I did it earlier. I'm gonna switch sides again. I'm gonna go to a different side. I'm gonna go this way, and I'm gonna move my bag. I'll put my guitar over here, because I got my guitar here tonight. I was playing. So, and Dave and I were talking today. He did that really cool live stream of that street festival, and I dug it. It was cool. But okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna go over here. So, all right, I think we're all right. Yeah, you guys see how much weight I put on. This is crazy. And that's why I really got to get into this Jacked at 70 channel and do more. But Dave, I've spent like the last, how long have I been, an hour or something? I spent like the last hour explaining how I've been too busy to do live streaming and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, it is awesome, but I'm like, Punkins, you have fun? Yeah. It's like, okay. When I play a good show, man, I feel great. It makes me feel amazing, you know? She plays a good show or a great show, and I think she's just kind of like, oh, well. But that's just how it is. So I'm using the Ulanzi battery tripod with a USB output into, I can't show you because the Pocket 3 is on it. It's mounted under the Pocket 3, holding the Pocket 3 up, and the cable is going into the battery extended handle into the Pocket 3, which is keeping the battery handle 100% charged. So my guess, based on the 5,000 milliamp hour Ulanzi and the comparable size of the battery handle, I'd say I could probably live stream out here for 5 hours straight if I wanted to. So it's pretty interesting. But how long have we been on? We started at 11:30, right? So okay, we're about 45 minutes. Because I've been using this iPhone, right, for the last couple of years, and one thing I do like about it is I do like how cool some of the apps are, and the phone is cool, but the watch is also cool, and the implementation of the graphics. You know, the Android apps are pretty nice, and I had an amazing weather app on Android that was written by a Russian guy. It was gorgeous, but I've never seen anything else on Android that compared to that. And so I have an app called Lumy, Lumy, because I'm an astronomical geek and I want to know when civil twilight and maritime twilight and all this thing, you know, and sunrise and all that. But what I didn't realize was that Lumy has these watch faces. And so I made some automation on the iPhone. So when I get sunset, it changes it to the nighttime watch face, which is the moon. It tells me the phase of the moon. It says moon sets at the time in 10 hours and 11 minutes and gives me all, you know, it gives me relative information to the moon. And then on sunrise, you know, the automation sets it to the daytime watch face, and also the lock screen and the main screen of the iPhone. This has been fun. Simple things, you know, simple little things in life like this. But the daytime one, it's the countdown to things like golden hour and blue hour, which I used to really care about when I did photography a lot, and I still do care about, because sometimes I'll have my drone and I'll say I want to shoot something, I want to go out and I want to use it for some photography and look at something, and I will look at the tables and say, well, I'm not going to go until it's golden hour, and then you fly the drone at golden hour. It's like really amazing, but you have to get it back in by what they call aeronautical twilight. So excuse me, that's why I have a Lumi, because I can look at it and go, oh, I got 6 more minutes, I can fly the drone. It's really dark, but excuse me, but technically it's legal. So they put some interesting things in this park. This park has been rebuilt a couple of times, but the little pavilions, they don't have any tables, just the tables here. They really don't want people doing like a barbecue and having parties here, because in the past they've just left such a huge mess. I remember years ago, right over here, when they had the stone table, I was here and there was a bunch of Filipino guys and men and women, and they were having a just innocent afternoon and weekend, and they had a bunch of food and stuff. And the village master came over, and he was kind of yelling at them, and I talked to him in Chinese. They really couldn't communicate. And I said, I understand that your concern is the trash. And he's like, yes, because we always have so much trash and nobody picks it up, and nobody's responsible for it, and then we have to pay somebody to come get it. And I said, okay, well, I've had this discussion with them and they understand this, and we have trash bags over here, so I'm telling you that I'll make sure that the trash gets picked up. And he was like, totally cool, okay, great. And so we ended up having a barbecue here, but they ordinarily would not be allowed to do that, and it's kind of a shame, because it's like the old saying, it only takes one to mess it up for everybody. So I think I've talked about everything there is to talk about. Can't think of anything else. I might be actually taking an apartment in Hsinchu City and talking to my wife about it. We might spend the afternoon or spend the summer in Hsinchu City. But I will say this, guys, and I talked with Dave about this. It's not like a huge announcement, but we're going to be in Japan and we're going to meet up with Dave. And somehow or another, Dave and I are going to do a live stream, whether we can, spot geishas in Gion, or who knows, the Osaka Expo. We don't know what we're going to do. Even if it's just Dave and I sitting outside going, hey, how's it going, everybody? We're going to do something together. Doesn't matter what it is. It'll be great just to see Dave and hang out. But yeah, we're looking forward to this. I haven't been to Japan for a long time, and we love it. And my daughter's never been. My wife's been, because we got we got stuck there because we had a problem with our flight. Our airplane got delayed, and we had to stay overnight because the plane broke, basically. That was cool. But you didn't go anywhere. It was like midnight, went straight to the hotel, and then the next morning, got breakfast at the hotel. 8 o'clock, we headed out in the bus to the airport, so didn't really see anything. But I myself have spent time in Kyoto, and this time we're going to be up in Tokyo. I've never actually set foot outside the airport in Tokyo. My wife and daughter have a bunch of stuff they want to do. They've been researching. I'm along for the ride. It's cool. But you better believe MJ is going to the guitar shop. And even though I spent all this money on this show, I still have a little bit in reserve. I might come home with a new Gibson SG. I can't promise you guys, but who knows? We'll see. It's going to be fun. But yeah, the whole trip is just, it's going to be awesome, because Japan is like, it's Japan, guys. It's not Taiwan, And Taiwan and Japan have this love affair. A lot of Japanese love coming here. A lot of Taiwanese love going there, so we're going to have a blast. And for me, the highlight's going to be going down. We're going to take obviously the high-speed rail, and we're going to ride down to Osaka, and then hang out. And the other thing too, Dave had a tremendous influence on one aspect, because remember when he went to Nintendo World and he did the live stream from Nintendo World? That was amazing. My family watched that from start to finish, because the cool thing was it was like almost like two parts, because he was there when it was daytime, then he went it was nighttime, and nighttime was awesome. And so Phoenix and Mommy both are like, yeah, we want to go there, we want to go there. So like, it's like the first thing that we said, like, we're all three of us said, yeah, we all want to do that. That's cool. So I want to go too. So thank you for that live stream on Nintendo World, Dave. So we're going to see Uncle Dave and hang out, and maybe Uncle Dave and I are going to walk around and see what we can do. Uncle Dave, because that's like, you know, Phoenix, my daughter, right? So yeah, we can, we're going to plan that, you know, all when we get there and just see. I know Dave's really busy, and we just got to see. No promises except that we're at least going to meet. So the very least, we'll just get a selfie, shaking hands or something, but hopefully we can get some kind of live stream. All right, ladies and germs, I think I'm going to call this a night. It's 20 minutes after midnight, and I'd like to go back to the house and, I hate to say this, I shouldn't, eat a snack maybe before I go to sleep. And you guys take care. And remember, MJ loves all you guys, and I'm sorry that I haven't been like live streaming like I should have, you know. It's never going to be like the old days, right? But hey, it is what it is. I don't know if I'm still relevant. I don't know what the deal is, but every once in a while I'm gonna be on and see what we can do. Dave and I were talking. Dave is always encouraging me. You know, even when he's chastising me, he's encouraging me. So I'm fortunate that I have a core, a base, a tiny core, tiny base that is like so loyal, and I really appreciate that. But I'm going to press this button and get out of here. So you guys take care, and we'll see you next time on The Real Taiwan. I'm MJ Klein. I'm signing out, and I'm going to end this live stream